kind of like that it's like a pretty like pure sport. I like statistics and times, and like it's all about that. I like the team atmosphere too, especially like so far at Promo, it's been a good way to like meet people and make friends. From like a young age, all I knew was like, oh, I'm from South Korea, you know, like I'll root for them, but I've definitely done that like my whole life. As far as like professional athletes or like college athletes I like really like, I think it's more just like a character trait than like their race. I don't think I really follow any athletes like based on their race. I mean, I think Jeremy Lin's a swell guy, but I wasn't like caught up in that whole thing.
Sometimes he'll like come to me and like say to me like, Alexis, like I feel like I'm at this crossroads that I can decide between being white and being Asian. I don't know what to choose. He like wants to engage in it politically, but I don't know if he is like willing to prioritize that over his athletic, academic life.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make it seem like I'm like a hater on like all these Asian American, you know, like issues and everything, because like I definitely like agree with the cause.
Matt is a mentor in AMP with Asian American Mentoring Program. He's also technically like my grand mentee. He's my mentee's mentee. But yeah, I basically supervise him and as he does his work in AMP.
AMP, it's a mentoring program for incoming first years, just to like help them get accustomed to the campus and help them out with any problems or issues they might have, along with hosting and sponsoring events like talks and stuff to raise awareness about Asian American Pacific Islander issues, and even stuff like dances and all that sort of thing. I didn't really know anything about AMP, and like, you know, I'm like unpacking in my room on the first day, and there's a knock on my door, and it's just two Asian people like with a bag of candy, like, hey, we're your AMP mentors, and I'm like, what's AMP? So I didn't really do anything AMP related the whole year, and then come spring, they like kind of like peer pressured me into applying to be an AMP mentor. But I'd been thinking about it. It seemed like it might be kind of fun. I kind of wanted a group of first years to kind of just help show around. I grew up sort of raised with like the same bias and like stereotypes against Asian people that I felt like most Caucasian people had. I think part of it was like not really understanding anything about my heritage at all, and like feeling like I was like an outcast from that whole community. So like I never really, you know, tried to like approach Asian people until I came here. We did an exercise where like everyone puts up like the date that either they immigrated here or that their parents did, and like what generation they were. And I was surprised that like almost everybody was like, I think either second or third generation. I guess I thought more people would have immigrated themselves. It just seems to be like a smaller time period than I thought where, you know, like most people came. I was born in Seoul in South Korea. I was adopted when I was 6 months old to Pennsylvania, and then moved to Bellingham, Washington when I was like 4, and lived there for most of my life. I feel like I was raised just like a typical like white American, and like I actually didn't have any Asian friends growing up at all. My adopted family, my family is white, you know, and I have a sister who's biologically related to my parents, so she's white too, and like they don't know very much or anything really about Asian culture or Korean culture or anything. I came here, ended up taking Korean 1, Korean 2, went to Korea, and I ended up being in Korea for 2 months and stayed at a hostel for international adoptees from Korea who like were adopted to countries around the world. I'd never really met other Korean adoptees. You instantly feel some sort of like connection with them even though you don't know them. Immediately people start talking like of their past and like being adopted, and like a pretty common theme is like, you know, like searching for your birth parents or like feeling some sort of like rejection to like your homeland. There's a lot of emotions that like everyone goes through at some stage or another. Everyone has their own narrative, and like the common thread is that, you know, everyone's adopted, but each story is like completely different. I'm trying to find, you know, like that middle balance, I guess. I met an adoptee in Korea, and it's like people asking me like, "Are you Korean American?" You know, it's like, no, I'm American Korean, and that's kind of like the way I feel as well.